I'm sure that financial freedom is one of your dreams. It means that you don't have to worry about the money again. Many Muslims believe that if they achieve financial freedom, they will have more time to spend on ibadah. They will have more opportunities to help other Muslims because they will have free time. They won't have to worry about the finances. Their basics needs will be covered. But the fact is that a lot of people are struggling. Our research shows that every one in the third Muslim in our community is stuck under the loans. So, on one side, we are talking about the financial freedom, and we'll have to talk about the investments and the passive incomes and these kind of things. But on the other end, we have to talk about getting out of debt. So if you are under the debt, or if you know someone who's under the debt, this video is for you. But if you don't owe anything to anyone, you are the blessed one. Congratulations. So now let me walk you through the process of how to get out of the debt. I was one of them. There was a time many years ago when I was in debt and I wanted to get rid of it. So I want to share my 13 points with you today. But you know what? Most important things in those 13 points is not the point number 7, not the last point. I don't want to keep you in that kind of suspense. The most important point is the point number 1. If that point number 1 is achieved, everything else will be easy. Getting out of debt takes time, and usually many months or sometimes many years. And the key to success is that you stay disciplined throughout this time. You'll have to stick to a plan. You'll have to, if you follow that plan, you will become debt free eventually. And if you don't follow that plan, you will remain in debt. And I believe that human is a good planner. Allah has made us smart enough to plan for something. So we are a good planner, but the problem is that we have to stick to it, and that is the challenge. So if you are clear about this first point, then let me walk you through the rest of them. So number 2, once you're clear about the staying disciplined, then you have to set a rule that you don't want to do the investment. You are in debt, don't invest. First get out of debt because it's costing you more. Then start tracking every single thing, every expense that you make, every income that you receive. Everything can be listed in one simple Google spreadsheet. You don't have to invest in some paid apps. Maybe if you want to do it, that's fine. But maybe start with a very simple Google sheet or Excel sheet, or anything like that. So start with that. Make a list of everything that you are doing. Make sure that you track everything, and then make a list of how much do you owe, how much do you have to pay back. List all the loans with their interest rates, payment dates, minimum payment required each month. So make a list of all the loans that you have to pay back. And once that is clear, now you have your all the expenses in front of you, you have all your loans in front of you. Now you have to question all the expenses that you make. What if you reduce some of the expenses just by 5%? I won't advise you to cut off a huge expense and lower your lifestyle all of a sudden. I want you to do is think about, what if you can reduce these 3 subscriptions and just stick to 2 of them? What if you go out less amount of time? What if you buy fewer clothes this month? So start by reducing your monthly expenses slowly, maybe 5 to 10%, and question each expense that do you really need this? Do you really need this? If you can get rid of one thing, can you do better? Can you still have the same kind of lifestyle? So next, before you start spending money, before you do anything with your money, that means that you should set aside 5 to 10% of your income, or maybe 15%, depends on your situation. That, okay, this is going to pay off the debts, right? And now the rest of the money is for my expenses. So make sure that you set your money on a side up front, and then use the rest of them. You also have to make sure that you give a clear purpose to every single dollar that comes into your income. That means carefully plan where every dollar will go, whether it is for the debt payment, whether it is for emergency funds, groceries, rents, bills, etc., etc. You should make sure that every single dollar that you have has a purpose. So the sum should be zero. If you give if you assign every dollar, every penny to something, the sum should be zero. There shouldn't be a situation where you say, okay, 85% of my income is going for the groceries and house expenses and all, and okay, now we are left with 15%, okay, maybe 10% on the paying off the debts, and the 5% are remaining. Okay, the sum shouldn't be the 5%. Those 5% will be spent somewhere and you will not even notice. So make sure that you even give some agenda, some purpose to that last 5% as well. So once these things are clear, now I want you to run a weekly review session, to analyze what's going on with your money. Maybe start with a daily review for 1 week instead of weekly review. So make sure that you are tracking every money, every dollar, and you are making sure that you are going as per the plan. You're not overspending. If you're overspending after a day, you will realize that okay, you overspend. Now you'll have to make sure that you don't do it again. So make sure that you do the daily review first, and after some time, maybe after a week or after a couple of weeks, you go to the weekly review, where you on a weekend, on some one day in a week, you sit in front of your sheet and pull out all the expenses and everything, and then see what's going on with your situation, with your financial situation. Don't set the unrealistic goals. When it comes to pay off the debts, it's matter of money. So make sure that you are being very realistic. It's a number game. You cannot assume that this will happen or that will happen. Whatever you have to plan accordingly. Another thing that you should consider is try to renegotiate your premium rate. Maybe some of the banks can give you this 0% interest rate, maybe lower interest rate than what you have currently. I know interest is haram, but if you are already stuck with it, you have to deal with it, right? So try to find the lower options if you can. There are some banks in my country where they give you the 0% payment plan. And during the whole process of getting out of debt, you should make sure that you always invest in yourself. Spend some money on your self growth, even if you are paying off your debt. You make sure that you are learning, you are improving your skills, you are being better in your career, in your personal life as well. So always spend a little bit of money on your self growth. And that will lead me to the next point, which is the second last. Make sure that you start earning some extra money. And this is not a very difficult job. If you are a 9 to 5 guy, then you can spend a few extra hours every day, or maybe over the weekend, to earn a few hundred extra dollars maybe. And that would be a great help, especially if you are going through towards paying off your debts. It will be a great help if you earn a little bit more. Start teaching something, maybe start some online business, start doing some part-time things, start doing some weekend gig or something like that. So I mean, there are so many things that you can find to start some earning some extra. And the last point, the first, you should target the loans which have the highest interest rate. It is mathematically better than focusing on that typical advice, which is to pay off the smallest debts first and then slowly go towards the bigger loans. You already have the list, right? So you can see which are the highest interest loans, so you should focus on them first, so you can get rid of that thing as soon as possible, and now you will be a lot better situation to clear the smaller loans faster. So that is all I have for you today. Inshallah, you will be out of debt if you follow a plan. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to share my experience. Assalamu alaikum.